All right, guys, my game plan with Mr. Yukon is I'm just going to be doing some drill type stuff with him, just kind of seeing where he's at with place. I've only done one place session with him thus far, and then I want to start asking him for down on place. So right now he's laying down on place, but I did not ask him to do that. He chose to. I'm guessing there's some foundation of the down command at home, but how solid it is from a standpoint of him staying in that when a distraction comes up, I'm guessing probably needs some work. But my first goal here is I just want to see where we're at from a standpoint of being sent onto place, moving towards me with the leash dropped. So prior to this, I did a session like I do with every single dog on leash first to just make sure that I give him a nice foundation of what place is. And now I'm going to drop the leash and grab it when I need it. So you'll just see that he's dragging it. So we're just going to see where he's at and then start utilizing our e-collar pressure to pair that with our down command. And my biggest goal with him, he's a young dude, he's just one, maybe not even one yet, is he's naturally very disconnected when there's things that catch his nose, catch his eyes, smell, sight, all those things, which makes sense, but we want to make sure that we can let him utilize those senses when appropriate, but engage with his human when appropriate as well. So I'm going to be very strategic about when and how I use his food because he is food motivated. I'm not going to utilize it as like, Yukon, look what I have. I've got a little cookie for you, and then reward him. I'm going to use it as like a, maybe I put him into a sit stay and he's just looking every which way but to me, but he's in a sit. I'm going to wait to mark that and give him his payment until I get this looking up at me. So let's just see what he starts giving us and get to work. So he is in command right now, so I'm going to release him because I did put him on place. Yukon. That's my boy. Let's go. Good. Just get some movement around here. Let's go. Yukon. Good. Yukon. Right here, tone, tone, stem, stem. Yukon. Good. Use a leash a little bit just because he gets easily distracted with Casey being in here with the camera. Good. Then I'll drop it as we get moving. Just get him moving with me, then I'll drop the leash. So if you notice that, like, you're kind of like having to really, really get your dog's attention to move with you, just grab their leash, get them moving with you, and then go ahead and drop it. Good. Tone. Good. Yukon. 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 Good. He's showing me he's not ready for me to do that yet, and that's okay. That's something I want you guys to take into consideration. If he's not ready for that, I won't do that yet, and that's okay. Good. Yukon. Good. Always let the dog show you where they're at. Good. Good. So I didn't ask him for a sit, but I was looking for him to be tuned in with me, which was what he just gave me, which was great. Yukon. Good. So he always wants to offer the next command he's learned. So that's why I'm circling this bed right now. So what I mean by that is I don't want him to just offer it because it's something I've asked him to do previous to this. I want him to learn to mindfully listen to me with it. So what you can do with your dog is move them around the bed. He goes to step on it. Little leash pressure, little stem stem I did there. Yeah, we've got squirrels, we've got birds. I don't keep leash pressure on when we go around it because I don't want to manage him from a standpoint of not letting him make that choice. I want to give information when he does make that choice. Good. See the difference there? So again, working in a tighter space, so I have to be creative about how I move, when I move, but That's something that I'll do quite often with dogs. I'm actually gonna move this so I do have more room, is they start getting into this like, I know what you're gonna ask me next, or I just got lots of food reward on that place bed. I love that he's now like, oh cool, this thing seems great, this is a good spot. But I don't want it to be just because he thinks that's what's gonna be next, or is just, again, being anticipatory, because we want the dog to just be really mindful of the direction from their handler. So let's keep moving, keep doing that a little bit. So this is proof of like, whenever I'm going into a session and I think like this is what we're going to be doing, the dog's gonna show me what we're actually gonna be doing. Like I thought I was gonna be having him go onto place more often, and we will get to that, but he's showing me we're not ready to drop the leash. We're not ready to go right into doing more of like rep type stuff. We need to get tuned in together, get that follow nice and solid before moving on to the next thing. And that's okay. Just always think about that with your dogs, is you might have a goal and just work with what your dog is offering you to give them some sort of information and utilize everything as a learning opportunity. It doesn't have to be, I need to do a play session today. So keep moving. Yukon. Good. Every time he like goes and gets Yukon disconnected from this following me, I'm using my tone and I will do a stim if needed, but those 2 times was just a tone. Walk even closer to the bed. Yukon, right there. So a little leash guidance, Yukon, and tone. Good. And I'm going to do that until we're not doing that again. So a little bit of hesitancy right here, same thing. Yukon, good. Very good, buddy. He's given a lot of good examples of things that dogs do very often. This is so common, especially for young dogs. They want to do well, but they also are like, well, where's my reinforcer? Where's my reinforcer? Which is totally fine. Good, and I'm gonna pay him for that because that was a job well done. I started doing with him on his play session yesterday, low-level stim work to condition him to a low-level tap, tap, tap on the e-collar until getting onto place. So I'm at a 4 out of 100 right now, and I'm gonna do that right now. Start my tap, place, good. And I always kind of move around the place bed once I get the dog on there to see if they're going to follow me off, or to see if they're going to, he just defaults into down, which is so amazing, good. Just to see if I can utilize then that as a learning opportunity. If they do go to step off, it would have just been nice tap on the stim, spatial pressure to get him back onto place. Break. Good. Good. Good boy. We can't chew and walk. Okay. Good. Very good. Same thing I just did with the leash, but with the leash dropped. You can. You can. Good. Good, Bubba. Good, Bubba. Work through those confusing moments for the dog. That's how we learn. Good. Very cool. He still has such puppy movements. It's adorable. Like how he sits, he's just too cute. Good. Good, down. It's right there. I'm gonna mark that instead of breaking him off and then retrying to put him into a down. He's offering me it. That's the best thing possible. That's good. It's great to be cute, huh? It's great to be cute. I wish I was as cute as you. Good. All right, I'm gonna start throwing a little bit of distractions into this just to kind of see like, hey, is that gonna get you to bust off of place? Good. And notice how I'm not making them super exciting right now. This is my first time doing this with him. So like down the road, I'm gonna be like, wow, and throwing it, but just nice and nonchalant right now. Just because you can see he's piquing his interest, but he's being very, very good. Good. Scratchy ears. Oh boy. Good. So I did a shush, tap at a 6 when his paw went to go step off, and then he went right back on, which was beautiful. And then I rewarded for that because we're good. We're good. Good. All right. I'm going to do a little bit of like what I'd consider my recall from place to place. I'll do this here and there. I used to do this a ton. I don't do it a lot anymore. I'll do it usually like a session or two with dogs just to give me a little bit of an opportunity to do a little bit more of my conditioning of the low level stem with my tone and my body movement. I like giving dogs a really clear target. So this is a nice little exercise that you can do in like really any space. I think that's also why I do it, is because people at home can do this. Where like I have these, I don't know, maybe 6.5 feet apart. So it's pretty reasonable to be able to set this up at home. So I'm gonna start with my tone. Yukon, stem, stem, Yukon, good, place, place, good, stay. So right there, that to me, and again, I will utilize a couple more reps of this to see, seemed more of like a, not that he's like actively not listening to me, but it was more of like a I'm good here type of vibe that I was getting from him, just because I know we've done a lot of the tone, tone, stem, stem to get him to come my way. I think he was just kind of like a, well, I'm comfy here, like, do I have to? So I ended up dialing up a little bit. So I went from my 6 that I was at to an 8, and he headed right towards me. So we will see if it's a confusion thing, or we'll see if it was just a like, I'm good thing. And either way, it's no big deal. We'll create clarity around it. So if me dialing up slightly and giving him that same sort of information wasn't enough for him, I would have went and grabbed the leash, just to make sure I'm being very clear. But I think he's got this. Yukon, Yukon, good, place, good, good. Again, I'm not asking for the down quite yet. Yukon, good, Yukon, place, good. Right here, watching from, shh, shh. Good. He is very, very obsessed with especially any female scent on anything. So I just disagreed with that. Not that, again, that I don't want him to use his nose, but he's standing on the bed, licking whatever scent is there from a female, completely not paying attention to me. I can disagree with that. So I did a shush, dialed up to a 9. He was kind of like, oh, okay, I should probably pay attention to what this lady that's trying to ask me to do things is asking me to do. Good. And then I will agree with that behavior. Good. Good. Notice how I strategically chose to good and then turn my back to the dog. I always kind of look in the peripherals, but it's important to see like what your dog responds to that, because this looks a lot different than good, me walking away. This, a lot of the times, will get a dog to want to just like bust off and follow you, because they're like, oh, that looks like typically the mode of when I'm following my owner, or like it just is an opportunity for us to lose eye contact so that they could get disengaged and break command or whatever. So just make sure you mix up like your path and how you ask for things and the timing in which you ask them. Because if I just do place to place to place, of course he's going to get shh, shh. Same thing with that smelling, licking of that scent thing. Just want to disagree with that for right now. And he's understanding that. But anyways, I could get into a really good rhythm of him making me look really good. Like he's going from place to place and laying on in a down immediately. But that's not the goal. The goal is how can I set up situations so that the dog is truly understanding what I'm asking, and that's with not making me super predictable. I'm going to give him the right information that he needs, but I don't want to be super predictable. Yukon, good. Place, good. Okay, I'm going to start asking down, good. So I just used that strategically. As he was laying down, I marked it down, and then I marked it good. Okay, so if your dog is starting to offer you that without you even having to give them any sort of pressure, shh, your nose is going to get you in trouble, man. But if you start seeing that your dog is offering you that as they're heading into their down, mark it down and then mark it good. Makes your life 10 times easier. So if you can get a dog to do that, I mean, some just are naturally going to do it, and some are just going to do it because sitting is more work and they'd rather just lay down. And he's actually, for being like a mix of some higher breed or higher energy breed dogs and being so young, he can go hard, but he also is pretty lazy. It's kind of like the balance of all the best of both worlds. Yukon, good. Place, good. Good. Now I'm going to start asking for a down. So what you're going to see is I'm going to give a tap down and I'll give spatial pressure. If this was a dog that had zero understanding of down, I would approach it a little bit different, but we're just going to see what he's going to give us. So I kind of always move back a little bit. I'm going to wait until he looks to me and then I'll go from there. Sometimes to get the dog to look to me, I'll just move around. Good. Down, spatial pressure. Good. And now we're on board. So it was my snap, tapped at a 5. I used spatial pressure pushed into him a little bit, just slightly, to get him into the down. Again, know the dog you're working with. So if this was a dog that I was concerned about, like a bite risk or something like that, I would approach it differently. I'm always going to kind of give those disclaimers of I'm working very, very like one-on-one. Each time I'm working with a dog, I'm working with that dog and giving them what they need in each moment. Yukon, good. Place, good. Down, good. He's just going to start offering it to me, which is great. But I will eventually have to ask for it. It's not going to make it that easy on me. I like to move my beds around as well. Yukon, good. Place, good. Shh, good. Down, good. With him, the reason I kind of look awkward when I'm asking him for a down is I know that like he loves to push into the person. So like even in the crate, I had to like use the door when he was like wanting to just be all up in my business. So kind of utilizing this so that I'm not starting to do my hand in a downward motion and he's wanting to like army crawl to like get close to me or sit me. I see it so often with owners and their dogs. So I strategically kind of create that barrier with my body so that down just becomes down, not army crawl, then down. Okay? Good. The shush snap, I don't know if you guys saw it in the frame, was again excessive sniffing. I'm going to start to utilize Yukon COME because you've been hearing me just using name recognition with my tone. I'm going to start utilizing my verbal COME. Yukon, come. Good. Place. Good. Down. So right here with the itch, I'm just going to grab the leash a little bit. Do that again. Shh. Shh. Falls over. Okay, what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? So again, if a dog's scratching, let them scratch. But if it's anything excessively, I do start to interrupt it. Come. Good. Place. Good. Down. Good. See how much less body pressure I had to use there? He was looking for my my visual, felt the stem, felt the slight step towards him. He's understanding that. That's awesome. Yukon, come. Good. Place. Good. I'd like to kind of see where we're at. Good. Down. Good. Right there I agreed with that thought of like, okay. Down. Good. Such a smart dude. So what I mean by that, if I need to clarify, because sometimes my thoughts and what I actually say don't totally connect and make sense, is when I said down the first time, he went like this, like, and I agreed with that. Yes, it wasn't exactly what I was looking for from the full down, but I do want to let him know, yep, that direction, that's what I'm looking for. Then I asked for it again, and he went down. Good stuff. So the pattern, come, good, place, good. Shh. Disagree with the excessive sniffing, down, good, man, you're so smart, so smart. Come. Holding it into a commitment, place. Good. Shh. Down. Right there, I didn't use much spatial pressure. Good. Give him a second to think. Good. So the only thing I would have changed if he didn't go down is right there, I just did one tiny step forward and then down. If he needed more, step forward closer to him. Good job. Good job. So like any exercise I'm doing with the dog, I'm looking for quality reps, not the amount of reps. So what I'm going to do with him, love him up a little bit, give him a little bit of a break, put him on the place bed for a little duration, and then I'll probably finish it up with maybe a few more reps if I feel like we need it. Otherwise, that will be this session, and then we'll give him a break. And I bet you we come back and do this again tomorrow, and he's going to be even more solid. So I always think about quality reps over quantity of reps. And if you guys focus on that same thing with your dogs, I think you guys will be happy you did so, because it will also mean less like drill time with your dogs, where it's like, that's just not how we live life with our dogs. We don't live life with our dogs doing drills all the time. Running them through some things here and there is super fun, but we really just want to make sure that we're being clear on what we're teaching and then utilizing it in our lifestyle. So like all of our videos, I hope this helps, and feel free to let us know if you have any questions. Bye. Licking his wiener.
You're gross. That's gross, Miss Dawn. That's gross, Miss Dawn.
Who's he doing? What is he doing?